It's why we need a shield. And Paul tells us actually this picture here of raising up our shield in protection. Well, to fully understand, I think the picture Paul's painting, I think it's helpful to understand that Roman soldiers had two kinds of shields. If you've seen any kind of movies from that day, you've probably seen the shields. One is this circular shield. And often the gladiators, when they were in battle or any kind of hand-to-hand battle, that's what they would use. They had their sword in one hand, their shield in the other, and it allowed them now to have close contact, close battle. And so was that shield, that round shield. But that's not the shield Paul's referring to. The other shield was about 2 feet wide and about 4 feet high. And it was that big rectangular shield. And this is what the soldiers would carry, not to protect them well from hand-to-hand combat, but to protect them from the arrows that were raining down on them. That's the shield he's telling us of. That's the shield he's telling us to raise up or simply to employ as a shield to protect us from it. And he says this shield is a picture of what your faith is. That it's our faith that is going to protect us in the moment of these attacks. So let's clear up some misconceptions around this idea of faith, because I think a lot of people, they struggle with that idea, mainly because they start to wonder, well, I just don't have enough faith. My faith is too little. And the thing about faith, Jesus says, is that you only need the faith the size of a mustard seed. Now, a mustard seed is super, super small and tiny. And he says, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you could tell that mountain to jump in the sea and it will do it. Because you see, the thing about faith is it's not the size of your faith, but the object of your faith. But you see, what's happened now is that people have been abused by it. And they've said, well, if you had enough faith, then you would be healed. If you had enough faith, then you wouldn't feel anxious. And so this idea now that suddenly I'm now failing as a Christian, I'm failing as a believer because I don't have enough faith in Jesus. And Jesus, again, he's saying it's not the size of your faith. Well, then someone say, well, what about the passage where Jesus talks about your little faith? Right? The disciples, they couldn't cast out the demons because of their little faith. Or they were afraid in the boat because, again, you have little faith. Well, the word there for little faith is, if I can pronounce it right, oligopistos. Everyone try and say that. Oligopistos. Isn't that, Greek is a fun language, I think. It's got some cool sounding words, but it's really a combination of two words. Pistis is the word for faith, and oligo is the word for little, or maybe more accurately translated as brief. So think about that. It's not little in terms of size, but brief in terms of time. So how many times have you been engaged in a battle and you've engaged that faith, but then you let go of it and you give up? And that faith didn't hold long enough. That's what he's talking about here. It's not this massive, massive faith. Because again, the thing about faith is simply not the size of your faith, but the object of your faith. I like to use this illustration. If I had all the faith in the world and I step out onto 1 millimeter thick ice, what's going to happen? I'm going to go crashing through. I've had too many hamburgers in my life, right? I am going to crash. Not enough chips, just so we're clear, but too many hamburgers, right? So I will go through that ice regardless how much faith I have because I've placed it in an inadequate object, 1 millimeter thick ice. But let's say I've got almost zero faith. But now you throw me out onto 10 meter thick ice. What's going to happen? I'm not going to go through. I'm going to be spread out, terrified with such little faith, but it's in an object that can sustain me. And so you see, we need to see that our object of faith is Jesus, and our problem has been that it's been too brief. We quickly let go of trusting in Jesus, and that means we place our faith in something else. Because see, the reality is everyone has faith. It's just a question of where you're going to place that faith.